I left my father's house when I was 17. Packed a bag, walked out, didn't look back. And everyone in my life, family, friends, the voices in my own head, told me I was selfish. That I was abandoning my responsibilities. That I was being dramatic. That I regret it. And they were right about one thing. It was selfish. And it also saved my life. That sentence took me almost a decade to be able to say out loud that something can be selfish and be the most loving thing you've ever done. No one tells you that sometimes the most sacred act of self-love looks like abandonment to everyone else. Hi my loves, welcome back on my channel. So today I'm going to tell you what selfishness means when you come from a house where you had to survive. Why it's the foundation of every boundary you're trying to set, and why the magnetic woman you're trying to become starts right here. In the moment you choose yourself and let everyone call it what they want. You know the oxygen mask rule on airplanes? Put your own mask on before helping others. Everyone knows that. You hear it every single flight. And yet we land on the other side. And we live our life doing the exact opposite. Giving our oxygen to everyone else and wondering why we're suffocating. I think about this a lot because when I left at 17, the word selfish followed me like a shadow. It followed me everywhere. Selfish for living. Selfish for not being the perfect daughter that I imagined. Selfish for choosing myself over the family narrative. Selfish for living my own life. And I'm not going to lie to you, that word stuck in my body. And for years after, every time I wanted to set a boundary, every time I wanted to say no, every time I wanted to choose myself, my nervous system will fire like I was doing something dangerous. Like my chest will tighten, my throat will close, because selfish wasn't just a word anymore. It had become a sensation, a threat signal, because my body had learned that choosing myself, choosing yourself, equals danger. And I think that's true for so many women, especially women who grew up in homes where things were inconvenient, where being good meant being quiet, where the safest thing you could be was agreeable. You learn that selfishness is the worst thing a woman can be. Worse than being unkind. Worse than being dishonest. You can be a lot of things, but don't you dare be selfish. And so you spend years, decades maybe, giving pieces of yourself away. Your time, your energy, your body, your truth, just to prove you're not selfish. Just to make sure no one can put that word on you. And here's the thing I really need you to hear. That's not generosity, that's survival. That's your nervous system doing what it learned to do when you were small and the people you depended on couldn't hold your needs. You'll learn to abandon yourself before anyone else could, and you call it being good. So I left my father's house at 17. I did this selfish thing. But here's what I didn't understand at this time. You can make the brave choices and still carry the conditioning in your body for years. For so long after I left, I overcorrected. I became a people pleaser in much more different ways. I said just when I wanted to scream no. I gave pieces of my soul to people who didn't even notice. I thought if I could just be useful enough, generous enough, loving enough, then I proved that I wasn't the selfish girl who walked out. And don't get me wrong, my body paid for that. Chronic tension in all my back and shoulders, a locked jaw, shoulders by my ears, waking up already tired, on edge before my coffee, and I couldn't figure out why. I did the brave thing, I left, so why did I still feel like I was suffocating? And here's the nervous system truth. Your body doesn't care about the story you tell yourself. Your body keeps its own ledger. Every time you say yes when your gut says no, your body records it. Every time you shrink to make someone else comfortable, your body records it. Every time you abandon yourself to keep the peace, your body records it. And eventually, that ledger becomes your baseline. You don't even notice you're betraying yourself anymore because it just feels like living. And that's the real cost. Not that people take advantage of you, though they do. Not that you're exhausted, even if you are. The real cost is that you lose yourself so gradually, you don't even notice it happening. You wake up one day and you don't know what you actually want versus what you've been told to want. You don't know what you feel versus what you've been performing. And that's where I was. Healed on the outside. I left. I done the work. I journaled. I meditated. But my body was still living. Like the approval of others was oxygen. And I was still suffocating. So how do you come back from that? How do you reclaim the word selfishness when your body has learned it as a death threat? You start small, not with a dramatic workout, but with tiny invisible choices that no one else sees, but your nervous system records. And from it were things like saying no to a plan I didn't want to go to and not explaining why. Letting someone be disappointed in myself, in me, and not rushing to fix it. Choosing a Friday night alone when everyone else expected me to be social. Not smiling when I didn't feel like it. Not filling the silence with words just to make someone else feel comfortable. And each one of them is the oxygen mask. Each one of them is a tiny act of selfishness that your body learns from. Your nervous system say, oh, I said no, and nothing terrible happened. I let them be upset, and I'm still here. I chose myself, and the world didn't end. And trust me, after 100 of these tiny moments, something shifted. You stop negotiating your worth with people who were never going to see it anyway. Here's the truth I wish someone had told me at 17. The people who call you selfish for choosing yourself, they're not describing you. They're describing their loss of access to you. Your selfishness is their inconvenience, their discomfort, their problem. The archetype of the dark feminine woman we see online, the magnetic woman you're trying to become. She's not cold. She's not cruel. She's just finally not available for the things that cost her soul. And that's not selfishness. That's self-possession. That's taking your power back. And maybe that's the real definition. Selfish isn't taking more than you need. Selfish is knowing what's yours to carry and what isn't. Selfish is your body finally being safe enough to say no without the war ending. Selfish is putting your own oxygen mask on first. Not because you don't care about others, but because you can't help anyone if you're conscious in the air. So if you're in the place where choosing yourself feels like betrayal to your family, to your partner, your culture, your conditioning, I want you to sit with this. What is the selfishness they accused you of? Was never selfishness at all. What if it was just the first time you ever chose yourself? And what if, this is the scariest part, what if you need to do it again? The version of you that's waiting on the other side. The version of you who doesn't explain herself. The one who's contained, magnetic, protected. She's not built from being more generous. She's built by being more honest with yourself first, then with everyone else. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if this resonated, if this felt like something you needed to hear, share it with a woman who needs it. I love you all. I wish you the best of the week, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.